He wasn't a soldier, and he wasn't a general. He was a spy, and his actions may have saved the world from nuclear annihilation. This is the incredible true story of Oleg Penkovsky, the Soviet double agent who changed the course of history. In the early 1960s, the Cold War was at its peak. The United States and the Soviet Union stood on the brink of war, two superpowers locked in a terrifying standoff. The world held its breath, knowing that one wrong move, one miscalculation, could trigger a global catastrophe. Tensions were never higher than during the 13 days of the Cuban Missile Crisis in October 1962. American spy planes had discovered Soviet nuclear missile sites being built in Cuba, just a stone's throw from Florida. The world was closer to nuclear war than it had ever been before, or has been since. Inside the Kremlin, President Kennedy's advisors were split. Some urged for an immediate military strike on Cuba, a move that would almost certainly have led to a full-scale nuclear exchange. They believed the Soviet missiles were already operational and ready to launch at a moment's notice. The pressure on Kennedy was immense. The fate of civilization rested on his decision. But Kennedy had a secret weapon, an ace up his sleeve that no one in the public knew about. His name was Oleg Penkovsky. Penkovsky was a high-ranking colonel in Soviet military intelligence, the GRU, but secretly, he was disgusted with the Soviet regime and its leader, Nikita Khrushchev, whom he saw as a dangerous gambler willing to risk nuclear war. Driven by his conscience, Penkovsky made a life-altering decision. He would become a spy for the West. He began secretly passing highly classified Soviet documents to MI6 and the CIA. He provided thousands of pages of top-secret information, including technical manuals for the very missiles being placed in Cuba. This intelligence was a game-changer, and thanks to Penkovsky, the CIA knew the exact capabilities of the Soviet missiles. Most importantly, they knew the missiles were not yet fully operational. They knew there were technical hurdles and that the warheads hadn't been mated to the rockets. This crucial piece of information gave President Kennedy the one thing he needed most: time. He knew he didn't have to launch a preemptive strike. He could afford to negotiate, to use a naval blockade and diplomacy instead of bombs. Penkovsky's intelligence allowed Kennedy to call Khrushchev's bluff, showing the world that the American president was in control of the situation because he had superior information. The crisis was averted. The world stepped back from the abyss. But for Oleg Penkovsky, the story had a tragic end. He was eventually caught by the KGB, tried for treason, and executed. He paid the ultimate price for his bravery. He was a man who saw the world heading for disaster and risked everything to pull it back. He wasn't a soldier, but his courage arguably had a greater impact than any single battle. He was the spy who saved the world. Thanks for watching. If you found this story as fascinating as I did, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more incredible stories from history.